Welcome everybody to another exciting episode of HomeKit Insider. You've got me, as always, Andrew O'Hara. Joining me once again this week from Apple Insider, it is Wesley Hilliard. How you doing, man? It's been a few weeks.
Yeah, it's been a little bit. You've had some guests on, and busyness with the iPhone releases. It's just chaos, pure chaos over here. But this little thing, Hurricane Helene, I don't know if you've heard of it, kind of blew through. That was a whole thing. So just been a wild few weeks since I've been away.
I know it's been like a chaotic couple of weeks because now we've had the hurricane go through, we've had Apple launches, we've had the strike happen and then stop happening for freight, like all of these things. And my first thought with the freight strike was, didn't Apple just say they were prioritizing all of their boat shipments instead of plane shipments to be more eco-friendly? And then it's like freight stoppage. Like, oh boy, I hope that doesn't impact any of the new devices. But unfortunately, that was resolved more or less rather quickly. So
it felt like this one was going to be quick. I mean, all they really did was push it off till January, but I think they got a little bit of what they wanted, but they'll be back. I mean, we're going to be hearing about this soon enough, but they just wanted to get away from the election, which makes a lot of sense. But I did want to start a topic off up here at the top, just discussing a little bit about the hurricane. Hearts out to everyone dealing with this. It was a pretty massive thing. Luckily, I'm good. I live in Northeast Tennessee, which, funny enough, in our little pocket, everything south and everything east of us was impacted, and we just got away with like 60-mile-per-hour winds. So very fortunate on our end, but still had some issues, and I wanted to discuss a little bit of the tech side of that, actually.
I know. I was seeing people are literally predicting how some of this is going to end up in Apple's keynote next year, because I heard because of all the cell outages, people with iPhones were still able to send and receive messages because of the whole messages over satellite with iOS 18. So that came in handy in a very big way. And yeah, you can see that showing up in one of Apple's heartstring videos at the beginning of a keynote at WWDC next year.
I mean, William and I actually had an extended discussion of this in Apple Insider Plus, our paid portion on the main show. So if you guys want to listen to that, go pitch a couple dollars, listen to it. It was a good little tidbit. So I won't go into too much detail here, but yeah, we had some issues, power outages, and different things. Our internet service provider, Spectrum, was completely out for the whole weekend in the whole region, and it was fine. I mean, you can go without internet. I was able to tether, but then moments before Spectrum was going to restore, Verizon went down, and I was starting to think, what do I do without anything? But then I realized two things. One, any kind of emergency, I'll be able to do SOS via satellite if I need to text or get a hold of somebody. But of course, there's other services, and we have eSIM now. So if I want to just pay AT&T for access to their antenna, I could. So there's always an option. Definitely need to keep that kind of stuff in mind. But I wanted to mention a HomeKit specific issue related to HomePods during this event. And it's actually kind of funny because HomePods still work without internet. You can AirPlay to them. You can't really talk to them because it needs the back end to actually access, but you can still use them as speakers. I actually use a stereo pair, and this is where we're going to get into Sonos later. I replaced my Sonos system, and my home theater is HomePods. So funny enough, that still worked without internet, being able to play audio over the TV, but the TV, Apple TV, did not have access to the internet, so I couldn't play anything over the TV, right? This is the conundrum. I could play audio from the Apple TV, but the Apple TV didn't have access to anything to actually play. So I had to tether the Apple TV to my phone, which removed the HomePods from its audio source, right? So there's no getting around that. So I actually had to use my Beats pill that I recently purchased, which actually turned out to be really good at this for a good backup solution. Use it as my TV audio out through Bluetooth. So it worked out. Again, first world problems, who cares? But I just thought it was kind of funny. We're going to be discussing Sonos, which is a hardwire plug, which doesn't have these kinds of issues. So
yeah, very interesting. I still have HomePods in our bedroom, like HomePod minis, but I can't do them for the living room. I just feel like they're not what I'm looking for. Their base feels sloppy to me. That's all it is.
I enjoy the system, but I can definitely say it's not for everyone, and it's finicky enough that I feel like any normal user, just stay away. I like finicky. I like problems and challenges. I can deal with them, but anyone else is just like, if you need it to be perfect all the time, yeah, HomePods probably isn't the way to go anyway. But anyway, speaking of, we were going to talk about Sonos. So if you wanted to dive into that, because there's a reason I got away from Sonos. It wasn't even because of this. It was a preemptive strike. I kind of saw. I'm not going to say that I was too ahead of the time here, but I did kind of foresee some issues popping up because they were getting the brand was changing. Their partnerships with Amazon and their lower priced units, and there was just a lot of things telling me maybe it's time to get away from Sonos. And a few months after I did, we started hearing about these issues with the app and different new devices not even being able to connect and having a completely upgraded app that was just faulty. And now here we are yet again, a pledge from Sonos.
Well, I mean, you guys all know, anyone who's been a long-time listener knows my feelings on this. I still love Sonos. The Ace headphones, especially with the abysmal update for AirPods Max that we got, I'm still sticking with those things. Right. And I very fortunately do not rely on many of the app-centric features, some of the accessibility features. They are not in my wheelhouse. So I didn't even know half these things until people started, writing in and letting me know of some of this stuff. So I've been trying to keep everyone up to date as much as possible on Sonos's efforts to restore their brand to what it was before some of these issues started happening. So now they are out with a new commitment. Their CEO is promising a lot that they are going to rectify all these things. So here's their pledge they're going through. So first, unwavering focus on customer experience. So highest level of customer experience, all the stuff that they're trying to do. Their second thing is increasing the stringency of pre-launch testing. So they're going to have a new beta testing program, broader set of customers, diverse setups to help identify issues before anything actually makes it fully to market. They're going to approach change with humility. So instead of doing everything all at once, like moving everyone to like the new app update, they're going to start to do this slowly rolling people into it versus an all-at-once thing, so they can see that feedback and adapt to it rather than just pushing on everyone all at once. There's going to have a new quality OBITS person that's going to help ensure that their quality is where it should be. It's going to report directly to executive leadership, publish reports twice a year, and present regularly to the Sonos board of directors on how their quality is going and how it's staying at that tip-top level that they expect. They're also going to be extending their speaker warranties for an additional year. So anyone who has a product that is currently under warranty, it'll be extended 1 year from the end. They're going to focus on relentless app improvement. So not only right now while they fix the existing issues, going forward after everything is resolved, they're still going to push out app updates every 2 to 4 weeks with continuous optimization, enhancements, and improvements. And then finally, they're going to establish a customer advisory board to help never lose sight of customers' voices. So we're going to provide that external feedback and insights from a customer perspective to help shape and improve the software and products before they're launched. So, I mean, I will say this. Obviously, like Sonos. So everyone can just say I'm biased. That's fine. I'm cool with that because I do like them. But I have rarely seen a customer or a company that had this, couple missteps like this that has pledged so much.
Right.
Now, obviously, pledges mean nothing until these things are actually solved, and time will tell if this actually turns things around. But they have been just completely to the wall, working on app releases and promises like this stuff. And I'm glad they have like an actual plan that they're presenting, and we'll see how they follow through on it.
See, Sonos has always been a good company, and they make good hardware. And I remember in the 2015 timeframe, people were passing around the rumor that Apple was going to buy them because they were going to be the speaker for Apple. And I still think that holds somewhat true. They've definitely diverted a little bit in their commitment to singular hardware. They've got a much wider product line, but I don't know. It's always scary to see this kind of statement, though, because yes, while they're committed to a lot, it also kind of makes me worry that they're not confident at the same time because they feel like they have to overpromise. And the key here in these kinds of situations is to underpromise and overdeliver. and they've promised so much. There's really no way they can over deliver at this point. So I wonder what's going to happen in the future for Sonos, but I still think they're a good company. I mean, me personally, the biggest reason I don't use Sonos so much anymore is because I just wanted more Apple committed hardware, more HomeKit and AirPlay committed. I know they're somewhat compatible in different ways, but I just wanted more deep integration through Apple's speakers, and kind of doubled down on the idea that maybe in the future Apple would be releasing more things, and they haven't yet. And we're hearing about this robot home hub, which cool, but still not quite what I want. So hey, I could always change my mind in the future. I doubt I'd go back to Sonos, but this is, like I said, it's a good thing that they're talking about it. It's a good thing that they're acknowledging it, because sometimes companies like, Apple just goes weeks without discussing an issue, without making any commitment to fixing it, and then just hope it fixes in the next update. And it's good to at least hear that they're talking.
I mean, it depends on your perspective, right? In terms of over-promising, under-delivering, anything like that. Because I mean, what I expected was them to fix the bugs, right?
Sure.
That's what I expected them to do. So they have been doing that literally every 2 weeks. I'm getting like a press release, or at least some sort of seeing a news article where it's like, hey, we just updated the app. Alarms are back. Timers are back. These are back. Like restoring fixes with every 2 weeks getting these updates. So like that's what I would expect. What I think is going above is what we're seeing here. Hey,
Sure.
we're going to create an advisory board. We're going to create a new tiered rollout system. We're going to have a new quality ombuds person that's going to be monitoring our progress and reporting back to executives and the board of directors, and publishing external reports so people can see how our quality is being maintained. So to me, this is over delivering if they carry
Yeah.
through with these things. But to me, this is over delivering on what I would have expected with what had been going on.
I guess this is it's all good. This is good news that they're moving forward with this, but it also brings a question: why weren't they this detailed before? Why weren't they able to do this before? Or what if all these ideas are here now, right? Like why did it take this disaster to spur them to increase quality assurance and stuff like that? I guess you needed it's a chicken and egg problem, but at the same time, it just kind of makes it's a curiosity is all. I not to be too negative. It's just, let's see what happens. Well, I'll give them the benefit of the doubt. They seem to be working on this, and I hope that it all works out for them.
I mean, sometimes like the simplest solution is the answer, and I think that's what we're seeing here.
Yeah.
I think they wanted to get the Sonos Ace out, and they had already built it around the new app and the new experience and everything, and then they had to upgrade to it, and they weren't ready. And the other option was like delaying the launches. And I feel like they were either not fully aware of the missing features, or they misrepresented or underestimated the customer response to those things being missed when they did that rollout. I think that all kind of just tied together, and it was unfortunate.
If I had to compare it to anything, Apple wise, it kind of reminds me a little bit of the thermal corner that they painted themselves in with the Mac Pro. They focused so hard on delivering this beautiful product, this cylindrical item that ran on a specific kind of GPUs and hardware, that they had completely blindfolded themselves to the idea that the market could go a different direction, bigger GPUs rather than multiple smaller ones. And it killed the product, and Apple had to reposition and rethink, and it took them actual years to go from that cylindrical Mac Pro to a new Mac Pro. And I'm glad to see Sonos is on a faster pivot, and I don't think they're pivoting to different products. They're just trying to be better about supporting these products and not rushing themselves. I guess the idea is, don't paint ourselves into this corner again of launch versus stability. Avoid that at all costs, and I think that would be beneficial to any company observing this.
Agreed. Okay, so moving on in the news, Samsung kicking Apple's butt when it comes to Matter adoption. So two companies, like more or less, Home Assistant has added support for Matter 1.3 as well as SmartThings. So West, what can you go over a couple of the devices, that the new accessory types that are found in that Matter 1.3 spec again, just to refresh us?
So if I remember correctly, iOS 18 only just got us 1.2, right? So Apple's a whole generation behind at this point, with barely supporting these air purifiers, robot vacuums, and stuff.
Even that is still
Yeah,
assumed since there's been no official word on it. But yes,
right.
Matter
It's
1.2.
finicky at best. And then here we are, Samsung SmartThings 1.3, and Samsung has always been good about getting ahead of the game. That's just kind of their whole business. And it looks like it's support for seeing EV chargers in like your apps or controlling ovens. So that's something I always wanted, is to be able to like preheat my oven or check if my oven is on or off when I'm away. That's
100%.
like a really good one. Cooktops, microwaves. Then we also have dryers, like clothing dryers, and just more things for the kitchen. Extractor hoods, those things that you turn on above your stove. Water sensors, water valves. I like the idea of all the cookware, just because like smart kitchen seems to be something that's been more or less missing. We've seen smart washer and dryers before. Tim Cook talked about having his coffee automated a decade ago, and everyone's like, how are you doing that? Well, with a very dumb cooking pot and a smart switch.
Yeah.
That was it. So today it's good to see that, okay, microwaves, let's go into cooking mode, do a scene and then have everything set up and ready to go for baking or whatever, right? Like that's a really cool concept, and I really hope Apple embraces this very soon. If we have to wait another year for a point update, it's going to be madness.
I know, and I always thought it was funny that Matter 1.2 contained washers, clothing washers, and not dryers, and then 1.3 added dryers. So you have to have a pair. You have to have Matter 1.3 to be able to have a washer and a dryer that both will work with Matter, but the dryer won't work with the Home app.
It's
Unfortunately,
unfortunate.
there's no price to support these yet, at least.
Right. It's unfortunate because I just bought a washer dryer recently, for example. I, I, we've discussed it on the show before. Major appliances, like Samsung especially, look at their refrigerators, their multi-$1,000 touchscreen television refrigerators. It hurts me a little bit knowing that these things are getting better all the time, but how long can you wait, right? Matter 1.4 is going to support smart couches. I don't know. Like, do you just stop buying things until the Matter spec is complete? But when is it going to be complete? I don't know. Like, this is one of those frustrating situations where the very expensive large appliances are now getting support for home stuff and technologies. And while I'm excited for that, my wallet isn't. And it feels like it's going to be a decade before we really see mass adoption of this kind of stuff.
I agree, and things like washer and so I think I'm trying to think of who was on the podcast that we talked about this, but this holistic, maybe it was Ecobee CEO, but this holistic home view, and I think a lot of it's going to come back to the power management. So now we have the EV chargers. We're starting to add these appliances. Apple already has your green energy monitoring. Things like that are going to be really nice, because what I would love is to see this start to save me money. So, I'm still working on it. It's happening. Going to have, a battery backup for the house. Eventually it would be great to have solar. But
Right.
until then, I want to be able to like charge the battery when power costs are lower, more or less, and then or use solar when we can, and then when energy essentially is the cheapest or the greenest, use that time to run the washer and dryer or dishwasher or those things, or charge your car. And I think they all need to tie together to get to that point. But that's something like the amount of energy that a lot of those appliances use is
Right.
not, inconsequential. Like we're
Right.
looking at things like lights, and those are like the big stuff around your house, but those things use nothing. They cost you like $1 or something a year or whatever to run some of these smart LED bulbs. It's the things like washers and dryers and your EV charger that are drawing
Right.
so much more power. So to be able to have all those tied together, battery backup, maybe a solar system, or at least your power company, which Apple already has here, tie all those things together with your appliances, and you can start to run these things when it makes the most sense, when it's the most green, when it's the most affordable. And this is just another little piece of that puzzle. But like you said, we're going to keep waiting. I mean, I have not seen any washers and dryers announced with even Matter 1.2 support. Maybe CES is where that's going to turn around, because 1.3 has been out for a while now.
Mhm.
Maybe we'll see something, early next year. But it's just
It's
little
a
pieces at a time.
it's an education issue too, because
Yeah.
consumers just don't know or don't care. And I remember when smart bulbs first came out, and the consensus among normals was basically, why? get up and turn off, use the light switch. This is stupid. And now it's taken a long time and a lot of convincing, but it's more commonplace. It's still not everywhere. I wouldn't go that far, but more people can look at a smart bulb and say, that's useful. I can have that in my home. You go to IKEA and it's full of all of these different things, right? So the average consumer is getting exposed to it more and more every day. But now you tell them your smart washer and dryer can be controlled from the home app, they're going to just kind of look at you like, why do I need to do that? And again, we have to just get through this education layer for years, but I think that's the next revolution in the smart home, right? At first it was just automation and control, blinds and lights and stuff like that. Security was like the second tier. Now here we are at energy independence, information, and control. And I think that is the next huge tier of, just like you said, having these solar backups, green energy, knowing when to charge, knowing when to turn things on or off, everything just being really intelligent around power. And I think it's really important more more than ever because of, issues like climate change and leading to more powerful hurricanes and people needing to become more energy independent. Maybe you lose attachment to the grid, but your battery backup's on. But how do you know when to charge your car or use your washing machine if you're running on solar power only, right? And having all of this stuff integrated into a central system just makes sense. And we're a while away, but at least us nerds who are paying attention can maybe take advantage of it a little sooner than others.
I agree. I mean, I don't know about you, but like we're not in any place especially rural, and yet we still suffer power outages. It was not that long ago. We were like 2.5 days or something without power
It's
again,
hard,
and it's can be really crushing. And you don't know,
especially
is your
food.
fridge and everything good?
You know,
Yeah, and you don't want to even get in there to try to get stuff, but you can't order because half the town or something is out of power too. So you're really left in a pickle on what to do. So that's why I definitely have been trying to get the battery backup as that first step before moving to solar. And then even when it's coming to something like the internet, like you're talking about, I know people who are buying Starlink systems literally just as a backup option, just to have it there. Like keep
right.
your Spectrum or something, but if you ever needed it, you can just turn that on and go that way.
I do wonder, so listeners and Andrew, if you bear with me here, do you remember Samsung tried to do a thing a few years ago and it fell over and they stopped because they realized honestly it was a money sinkhole. But what they wanted to do was create a television where instead of buying a new TV every year, you just bought the compute unit and swapped it out every couple of years to get the new smart TV upgrades, the new CPU, all that stuff. I can't remember when this was. It must have been the 2016 range. And it was a good idea, I think, because televisions are big and expensive, and how often are people buying TVs? But then I think Samsung realized, especially in that market, people were just okay with buying new TVs every couple of years, so they just kind of axed it, even though it honestly would be a good thing. Modular components on something that size could work, but let's apply that idea to these major appliance items. I don't think there's an easy way like to convert my existing washer and dryer, but I wonder if third-party manufacturers, the people in the nanoleaf space or these other people who make more proprietary technologies centered around Apple HomeKit or Alexa, and what if they could just look at existing systems and find ways to integrate them through Matter, but with attachments or add-ons or other integrated devices, say, have something that listens for a buzzer and then sends a signal, that kind of stuff. There's ways to augment it now cheaper, but I wonder if that's a way to go in the next few years as these things get more integrated. And then in the future, when you're buying a $800 washing machine, what if you could have a swappable compute unit so you don't have to buy a new washing machine every 3 years when the Matter specs upgraded? It's just interesting to me to see how this stuff is evolving, and if technology would prefer to remain the commerce side of things where we're forcing people to pay a lot of money to get the new toy, or if these technologies are useful enough, finding ways to integrate it without it costing us a fortune and actually making wide adoption more possible, more relevant.
Agreed. And especially on the TV front, I feel like it's so wasteful. Like recycling a TV, first off, is not easy to do. I have a TV that got a crack in it when we moved, which sucks. but now I'm left with this 65-inch TV that I'm probably gonna have to pay to recycle somewhere.
Right.
And the only place I know is Best Buy, because even like the local transit center is weird. Like you gotta have a contract
Hmm.
for regular trash, but I don't have my trash through the. It's so overwhelming that I like avoid it. So like yeah, I wish there was something like that was made more modular. Because on TVs, assuming you have 4K, sure you may eventually want to upgrade because you want maybe OLED or something from what you have, but
Right.
a lot of people are cool with just a 4K TV, just the cheap ones from Best Buy. And if you could upgrade the power, the control unit, the CPU, and make it more powerful and add smart features, add Thread or something in there, I think that would be a great way to go. But I guess
It's
we're not getting that.
yeah. I mean, I know we got to move on, but just to mention, there's an obvious reason why this doesn't happen. It's all money, especially in television markets. Uh, the most obvious solution is for Sony and Samsung to sell you a display that is basically a 70-inch monitor that has no other compute power in it, just to run the TV and the whatever garbage motion smoothing there is. But that's it. No internet access, no Netflix. But because they want to get ad money and track what you're watching and make money off of that, it has to be an internet connected TV. That's just all you can buy today. And I think it's awful. I wonder if there isn't a market for some new competitor to step in, buy Sony panels and sell them under a different brand as dumb TVs. Because for me, and maybe Apple could do this. This sounds like a kind of an Apple kind of sideways thing, but I don't think they ever would. Studio display esque thing. But for me, all I want is my Apple TV and a PlayStation. But that's it. I don't need all this junk in the television other than it to be a beautiful OLED display showing proper resolution and color. So I would just swap out the Apple TV every few years, and then every decade get a new television unit, right? But for some reason, well, we know the reason, money. These companies are just completely uninterested in that, and that's sad to me.
I mean, it's unfortunate, but maybe it's because the margins aren't there. I don't know, but yeah,
Right.
they're really leaning into a lot of them are offering freemium TV service that you can jump into. There's ads on your TV panels, like especially the ones that have built-in Roku. Roku is filled with ads. Like the last time I reviewed
Mhm.
one, it drove me crazy because literally just across the home screen there were advertisements for games
Mhm.
and
I
movies and
just
all this
turned it
other like
off.
pay-per-view things. It drove
Yeah.
me crazy, and that's the way that things are going. So I do wish we could get away from that and just have like a simple panel, but maybe the margin's not there because people don't want to buy the second box. I know a lot of people that just use the built-in smart TV interface, which is typically pretty awful.
I find it so funny, it's a money thing. I get it, but still, you go to Best Buy and buy an $1,800 4K OLED, but you're allergic to the idea of spending an extra $100 to get the Apple TV 4K and make your experience 1,000 times better than whatever garbage is going to be running on that television. It's just funny to me.
100%. 100%. Okay, before we get into the rest of this episode, which shockingly we're already like 20 some minutes into, like
Hmm.
Wes and I, again, before we start the episode, oh man, we only got a couple things. We're never going to make it that long on the episode. And here we are, 25 minutes in, still more new devices to talk about, some hands on to get into. But first, let's thank our sponsor for the episode, Factor. We've not talked about Factor for a while, but thank goodness for them, especially right now. We are getting into the fall. We are getting into the busy season. There's so much stuff going on. Like Wes and I have been going like crazy right now with the new phone launches and new watches. And we got like I got child stuff. He's got birthdays. I both my niece and nephew have birthdays. All this stuff has been going on and is consuming all of our time, literally all of it. So what do for food, especially when you want something nutritious and you don't want to just go get fast food that is somehow increasingly expensive these days? You go with Factor. It's literally chef prepared meals that show up at your door every week. And they are fresh. They are never frozen. You literally put them in the microwave for like 2 minutes or something, or you can put them in the toaster oven or oven and cook them that way, which is way better. That's the way I always go. Toaster oven, put them in there. They come out, gets a little bit crisp on them, some color, and they are amazing. I think I've maybe had one that wasn't my favorite, but basically everything that I've got from Factor has been spot on. They have Calorie Smart, they're vegan, there's keto, there's Gourmet Plus. Like they have steaks. My grandpa got a steak with truffle butter and he said it was amazing. There are vegan and veggie options. You're always going to find something that fits your taste and your lifestyle. There are more than 35 wholesome meals every week to choose from. But not only that, My favorite thing is they have all these extra add-ons. There's like breakfast and smoothies and these like shots that I was taking, not like alcohol ones, like healthy shots, like
Right.
get you going. And I want more of those. I want more of those because they were so good. But this fall, you've got a lot going on inside the kitchen. Keep your plans and turn to Factor. They deliver fresh, nutritious, chef-prepared meals ready to eat in only 2 minutes. So here's what you guys can do. Head to factormeals.com/HomeKit50 and use code HomeKit50 to get 50% off your first box and 20% off your next month. That's code HomeKit50 at factormeals.com/HomeKit50 to get 50% off your first box plus 20% off your next month. We still turn to them every time we get busy, Wes. Like, no joke, people. When things get busy, I'm like, I'm not going to the grocery store and then trying to plan out all of these meals and stuff. And then the kid, no, we do a Factor box, call it a day, and we've got, oh, they're so good.
Yeah, you just make me hungry
They're always
on
so good and healthy.
on these ad
Okay,
reads.
getting back into the news, Aqara. This thing has been long awaited, and I have it partially installed upstairs, but I got the box so you guys can see what the box is. It's the Aqara U300 door lock. Right there, people, on the video side. It's blurry, but it is there. This is a lever lock. So this is for, it works both internal and external. So you can use it on a shed, on a garage, on your office, on your wine room, whatever you want to do that has, not a deadbolt. Your just traditional handle lock that you
Right.
twist and turn. That's what this is. So it is a lever that you pull down. It's a matte black finish. It has Apple Home Key support, so you can just tap your watch, tap your phone to gain entry. There's a fingerprint reader, which is right in the center, so you hold the handle, put your thumb there, and it authenticates, and you walk right in. There's a keypad. You can use NFC. It supports Apple Home as well as like Amazon Assistant, Samsung SmartThings, Google Home, and it works with Matter. It's Matter over Thread, so there's a Thread radio here. Lots of really nice things in this lock. So I'll tell you where we put it. We put it on our bedroom because our, little tot is running around here opening and closing all the doors all the time. And who knows what he's going to get into. And we have one of our cat likes to be, we have to keep our cats somewhat separated because they don't love each other like brothers should. So we have to rotate them and keep them apart sometimes. So sometimes Oliver is in our room, which is the biggest room in the house and has a private bathroom and everything with his litter box. So we'll keep him there. And Harrison kept coming out the door and opening it and letting the cat out or going in and playing in the litter box or something. So we're okay. So we had to put one of those toddler handles on the door. I hate toddler handles.
Right.
They're so
Impossible.
obnoxious. They're impossible. And not only that, but Faith will be asleep and I'll be working late. It'll be 2 or 3 in the morning and I'm trying to come back up to our room and I'm fiddling with the knob and it's making so much noise because it's stupid plastic on the doorknob. I'm trying to twist it, but I'm holding water in my phone at the same time. I can't tell you how over it I am, Wes. So that is coming off. And instead, we're just going to put this. So you can just literally grab it and unlock it with your thumb. But we can also schedule it to lock when Harrison goes to bed. Or maybe set an automation. I'll set an automation Harrison good night, which will turn on the Go V Star projector in his room, play some white noise or whatever, turn off and close the shades in his room, and unlock our door. So that when we go to bed, it's not even locked. We don't even got to worry about it and can go right in. So I'm excited to try this out and see how it works as a bedroom lock. But I'm sure people can use this for a home office. That would make sense too. A liquor room, whatever. There's a lot of applications for this. This was I think shown off a long time ago, and now we're finally having it launch. So I'm very excited by it. So I'll have more of a review on actual utility and all of that. Have you looked at this much, Wes? Because I know it launched earlier in the week. I don't know if you wrote this up for Apple Insider, but I know we covered it.
No, I've actually been writing about it in different way and different situations. Aqara is always having so much fun stuff coming out, but I have looked into this one. I'm pretty sure there's a feature which I found interesting because this is on, because unlike other smart locks, which are traditional deadbolt covers, this one is on the handle. And I found that interesting because they have this feature that you can turn on where when it unlocks, it can also pull in the plunger and just let you push or pull the door open without having to operate the handle, which is really handy. They also have this.
That.
Yeah, they also have this passage mode that you can leave it unlocked for when you're carrying groceries in and stuff like that, and then to disable auto lock until you're finished. There's a lot of like interesting features here you don't really see in other smart locks because it I don't know, it's just things you have to either program manually or whatever. They have it all as part of the system. So I really like this one. And I mean, heck, this would even work as a front door lock. I know this is good for something I would put it on my office door maybe, but this also works indoors and outdoors because it has that IP water resistance rating as well. And Aqara has a lot of fun features. They have this thing called like offline passkeys, which is basically you can still set up a one-time code for someone to use. And I think it's working off of the internal computer on the smart lock and synced with the app in your phone. So it'll give you a passkey that the keypad is expecting to be inputted, and someone can put it in even without internet access. So that goes back to the like disaster relief situation where you don't have a way for someone to get in, or they need to access, and they can just put in this passkey without internet access, and that's also helpful. So a lot of cool stuff here.
Nice. Okay, I like that. I'm very excited to play with this a little bit more. But it
Yeah.
seems like a very cool lock, and I'm interested in how this is going to compare to like that Thor lock that recently launched. And the biggest difference is that Thor lock one is more of like just the handle. Like, okay, they're both handles. One is more of the knob, like a
Mhm.
round cylinder knob, where this is an actual
Right.
lever. So
Well,
there's a little bit of a difference there.
the Thor one's awkward because it just like with the problem I had with August, people are like, "What am I supposed to do with this thing?" Like they look at it like it's an alien technology. It's just like you turn it, just
That's
turn.
true.
You know,
Yeah,
this looks like a handle,
I
which
know.
people know what handles look like. So
It's funny when people did that to the August because I'm like, it's not even like there's a handle below it. Just don't.
right,
Would you touch a deadbolt? No, you would leave the deadbolt
what
because
is this?
you walked in the door, so you know that it was unlocked. Like I never walk out of someone's house and like double check that they didn't lock me in. So like, and I'm like, yeah, just leave. Don't like.
Just
Why would
open
you?
the
You don't
door.
gotta do nothing. Just
Yeah,
open the door. This is how it is. Yeah.
yeah. They just it's like putting a mouse in a brand new maze. It's like, where am I? What's going on?
Yeah. Exactly. Okay. So more on that to come. So Eufy, I thought this looks like such a slam dunk here. And I missed this because I think this was last week, and I just blew through it because I had not kept up with Cam. They did have like their security things going on that they had to figure out with their cameras, but they have a new S3 Pro Cam 4K wireless solar powered night vision that they claim is bright as day, and it works with HomeKit secure video. I mean,
I mean,
how many more boxes can you check off here?
I've been waiting for someone to make something like this because my goodness, it's always one or two of the check boxes. Like it's an outdoor camera, but it's not solar. You know, like you have to bring your own solar or drill a hole in the wall or whatever it is you got to do.
And I hate charging them is so annoying. I
Yeah,
never keep up with it.
yeah. So this is a good combination of everything, which is nice. I like. I like that all these cameras keep coming out in 4K. It's like great because yes, HomeKit doesn't support it, but you can do both. Just do the SD card
That's the
recording.
asterisk, yeah.
Yeah, do the SD card recording. Where I don't know if this one has an SD card. They usually do. Where you get local, or you go to the app and you can see the camera in 4K. But then the HomeKit Secure Video is just another stream that's always recording for motion. I kind of see it as a backup these days because like I have the Tapo cameras and I have one in my kitchen and I can go and check it out in the Tapo app. It just if I need to see something going on there, but it's also in HomeKit Secure Video, right? So like it's just one of those things where redundancy never hurts anyway.
On top of that, like if we're hoping for that day when Matter finally adds support for cameras and Apple inevitably has to upgrade
Right.
HomeKit's cloud recording to 2K or 4K resolution. I'm hoping that means something like this is literally just a software update away from enabling higher resolution HSV. Like there should be nothing that stops it at that point when the camera captures it. It's got the processing power. It supports HomeKit secure video already. We just need Apple to adopt it and then the device manufacturer to issue a firmware update. So like it kind of feels like it's future proofing, though there's no guarantee.
And this feels like another obvious like incentive for iCloud Plus or Apple One, just to say if you have a subscription to an iCloud tier, you get the unlimited cameras and 4K, right? Or if you're dealing with, or just do different tiers. Like if you're only paying for 500 gigabytes, you get HD recording. But if you're paying for 2 terabytes, you get 4K recording, stuff like that. Like they could really play with this a little bit and further incentivize people to upgrade their iCloud storage.
100%. Pricing wise, you're looking at 2 cameras plus the home base for $549, 3 cameras in the home base for $699, or 4 cameras and the home base for a cool $800. Okay, quick
Not terrible for what it
hands-on.
is.
Honestly, it's not. It's really not. 4 4K cameras and the home base hub for 800. Like, it's really not. It's not terrible at all. Okay, so quick hands-on, because I think this thing is very fun. It's been one of my favorites, and there's increasingly more of these style of chargers. I have like 3 of them right now, but this is one of the newest. It is from Anker. We had talked about it on the podcast before. This is their portable 3-in-1, and it's all magnety. So you have 3 chargers like that, a fast charge Apple Watch puck on the side, a Qi charger in the middle for your AirPods, and then a third one for your iPhone. So I've seen a few of these now. We have the one from Belkin that does 2-in-1 boost charge, just does the 2 Apple Watch, your iPhone. We have the Butterfly and the Butterfly SE from 12 South. Does your iPhone and your Apple Watch, which I maintain is fine. But this one is a 3-in-1 if you are looking for that additional charger. So it is nice that you have that option. This is one of the few 3-in-1s that is ridiculously tiny. Like, it's just super itty bitty, and it feels nice. They include the charger in the box. Like, so you have this thing here, but you also get a USB cable and the power adapter. So you have everything you need with this. It's also very fun. My son will not stop stealing it. I lost it for like 3 days. It was just gone, and we found it again. So that's good. I'm like, I got to cover it on the podcast before he loses it again. But yeah, I'll put a link for this in the show notes if anyone is still on the lookout for a 3-in-1 portable Qi 2 and Apple Watch fast charging charger.
Yeah, I've seen stuff like this. Isn't this similar to like, I think you might have even said it just now. 12 South, they have like the
The Butterfly is the metal one, and they have a Butterfly SE that is plastic.
Yeah, it's fun seeing all these experiments. I still personally want a travel charger that can do what is it called, standby mode for the iPhone. So these are lay down chargers. I want a stand up charger, but anything that's super compact that can just slip into one of these mesh pockets in a backpack is always very handy to have.
Well, the Butterfly is supposed to support standby mode, as well as the Belkin 2-in-1. It folds backwards too, I think. It's a boost charge 2-in-1. So both of those do support standby.
Yeah, always just fun to play. I mean, I like seeing all the competition, everybody just coming out with their own versions that do their own things. Like this one being a 3-way fold, just crazy.
I did even get PR from this today. So this is also, we talked about this literally back at CES, but it's the Voyage from Native Union. It's a 2-in-1, very similar to literally all of these, just their take on it. And yes, Wes, if you were wondering, it can support standby mode. It'll fold back over on top of itself, connect together, and prop itself up into standby mode. Or you can have a little pedestal for your Apple Watch if you want to go that way. $100. They have like, I think it's like a vegan leather on the outside, I want to say. Well, I'll have more on that later. But yeah, so Anker one, these are all out. So let me know what your guys' favorite portable chargers are, because I'm always curious at what people are liking.
Yeah, I'm still sticking to the QQ 3-in-1 foldable guy, the aluminum version. It's pretty nice.
I am still holding out hope for a new Apple MagSafe Duo.
Right.
Like, it's just going to pull at my heartstrings, because there's never been anything that is so thin, so fast, and now we have 25-watt MagSafe, and none of these third-party chargers will support it. So it's a bummer. Okay, last thing as we wrap up the episode, we had a listener question. So TechWorks216 wrote in, "Hey Andrew, having an issue and need some HomeKit help. I had to remove a home hub from my Apple Home and reinstall it. The problem I'm having is that it's still showing in the Home app as well as the reinstalled hub. Essentially, it shows up twice. How do I remove the second hub if it's in the home but in use as another device? I think I've had this happen at least once. So I'll give you my first thoughts. Wes, you can either back me up or propose something different. But clearly you're going to have to remove something. And since you have it in there showing up 2 times, I think you have to remove it twice. So I think what I would do is reset the device itself, because if you didn't reset the device, that could be the hang up. Because I've had that with HomeKit devices. If you have a HomeKit device and I've like removed it from the Home app and then tried to re-add it, but then it couldn't re-add because I never reset the device itself, or the other way around. Like if I reset a device but it's still in the Home app, it'll re-add and be in there 2 different times. So you need to make sure you're removing and resetting it on both ends, on the device itself, like the home, whatever this is. He's saying Home Hub, and I'm not sure if he's meaning an Apple TV or a HomePod,
Right.
but make sure that is getting reset to factory, and then making sure it's completely removed from the Home app. So if it's showing up twice, remove both of them if you can. If you have multiple Home Hubs, you may need to remove them as well if it's still giving you a persistent issue, like it's somehow being stuck in there. But start with that. Just with this new Home Hub here, remove it, make sure it's reset, remove the duplicates, then try re-adding it and see how it goes. Wes, you have anything else to kind of suggest here?
No, I mean, if it's a HomeKit device, yeah, the best thing to do is make sure you factory reset whatever's on the HomeKit device locally and remove it from the Home app. That's two separate things you have to do, like you said, because if you don't reset it appropriately, it'll reappear usually twice in the Home app. It's frustrating. Go remove the old one. Don't be worried. I mean, it's all re-addable anyway. So if you end up removing the wrong thing, it's not the end of the world. But if it is an Apple TV or HomePod and you're seeing two of the same one, that's usually like a naming issue where it's keeping the old one in the system and it's renamed the new one HomePod parentheses 2. Go just remove the original. I mean, it should show up in the Home app as a device. You can't do anything. I think if you're talking about Home Hubs, you can't really manage anything from the Home Hub view in the settings. But go into the actual home, go to the room where these things are installed, find the duplicate version of this device, and remove the one that's old or not using. That should take care of whatever this is, because it's probably just looking for an Apple TV it thinks is unplugged, but it's actually deleted, and you just need to actually delete it from the system.
Yep, 100%. Well, thank you for writing that in. Hopefully that provides at least a little bit of help. For next week's episode, there's going to be a little bit of a focus on some automations. So I'm curious if anyone has any great smart home automations, send those my way. You can send to Andrew at appleinsider.com, or you can send them to me. You can share like shortcuts and send them to me on Twitter, Andrew_OSU. Send them there as well. Or if you have any questions. Wes, thank you for joining this week. It's always great. Plenty of stuff we had to catch up on. Wes, you want to point them to anywhere as usual?
You can hear me on the Apple Insider podcast every week. Been a good couple of shows talking about the iPhone 16 launch. Then I'm also on Mastodon at Hilly Tech. You can always find me on Mastodon. I'm there chattering around about lately about artificial intelligence, trying to figure out why people actually care about that stuff, because it mostly seems like broken technology. But in any case, that or email. Any article I write, you can click my name at the top and it opens an email document. You can just send it straight to me and I'll see it and I can even respond. So, but I will always try to come back here and chat with you guys whenever it makes sense for the schedule. But I always love being on HomeKit Insider. It's a lot of fun.
Awesome. Thank you, man. Everybody, do what you guys do best. Give us a 5, 10, 100-star rating on your podcast player of choice. I hope you guys have been appreciating the album artwork. I've been really focusing it on the podcast player and stuff. I think it's looking really good, so hopefully everyone's enjoying that. Also, hope the video this week is not stuttery or recorded from my iPhone backup. I did find out kind of what was going on, and apparently is the local Riverside app, because Riverside always seems to have issues. But I launched it from the browser. I launched the app again, it gave me problems. We moved over to Chrome, and it's working in the browser, but whatever. At least the couple thousand of you that watch the videos, you're getting clean stream this week. So appreciate everyone who watches there as well. If you want to watch the video version, youtube.com/HomeKit Insider. Otherwise, we'll catch you guys in the next episode.